And new this morning, hundreds of nurses in Norwich will spend the day on the picket line instead of in the hospital. Nurses at Backus Hospital are kicking off a two-day strike in just about 2 hours after negotiations on a new contract failed to reach a resolution. Channel 3's Roger Susanna joins us now live in Norwich. Roger, is anyone starting to gather outside the hospital?
Yeah, good morning, Nicole. A few nurses have showed up, but the picket lines have not started to form yet. I've actually just learned that the picket lines, for legal reasons, cannot begin forming until 7 o'clock this morning. It's going to happen right after nurses walk through the front entrance here at Backus Hospital. And at this point, both sides agree that with the COVID numbers escalating in this part of the state, this is really a terrible time for this strike. But the nurses say they're standing up for what is right and what is fair. Now, this dispute is all centered around the latest failed attempt at negotiating a new contract for the nurses. Their union president argues they are essentially striking for fair compensation, better efforts to recruit and retain staff, and better access to PPE. Now, Backus Hospital leaders argue that they have offered a fair deal, which includes pay raises for most nurses. But at this point, the two sides have not come to a resolution that they each consider fair, and so the union has announced a two-day strike that begins today and will extend through tomorrow. Union President Sherry Dayton, who is also an RN here at Backus Hospital, says this decision was not taken lightly, but the nurses feel at this point it's the only way to make their voices heard.
The way I feel right now is how those nurses are going to feel at 7 o'clock walking out of the hospital. We don't want to leave our patients' side.
A very emotional issue for both sides. Backus Hospital's president sent us this written statement stressing the negotiations will continue, writing, "I apologize for the concern that I know this is creating for our hospital, our nurses, and our community. We remain firmly committed to reaching a reasonable agreement." Now, by the way, the hospital will remain open during this strike, although patients starting at 7 o'clock will likely notice picket lines set up outside. Coming up in the next half an hour, we're going to interview that union president live on our air. Reporting live in Norwich this morning outside Backus Hospital, I'm Roger Susanna, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.